I am oddly comfortable. It's kind of confusing.
Men get a feel for heels. Find out the cause that had them walking a mile in style.
That part of the vehicle can still remain energized.
There's high voltage, there's new advanced steel.
Powerful training on hybrids. See what Irving firefighters are learning about the vehicles becoming more common on the roads. Plus, how pet owners are saving a lot of money.
Oh my, tremendous saving.
Also, where more people are showing their chess skills and forgotten chapters from the history of Texas Stadium. Do you remember ideas for a dome and an actor's push for a stadium name change? This is City Source. Hello and welcome to City Source. I'm Thomas Gandy. We begin with something that can keep drivers safer on the roads. Of course, Irving firefighters are among the first to respond when vehicles crash. But just how they respond depends on what type of vehicles they are dealing with. Traffic is moving smoothly through Irving, but firefighters know it's not always like this.
We see a lot of wrecks and we make a lot of extrications.
So that means being ready to rip open a car to rescue people inside. We have covered training exercises focusing on that, but now there are new challenges.
Our environment out there is always changing.
One of the changes is the surging popularity of hybrid vehicles.
This is the Toyota Prius that we talked about.
Firefighters are getting hands-on experience with hybrid cars to learn what makes them different.
That means the car is energized.
The biggest difference, of course, is how they are powered.
I would want somebody inside to power this thing down. That shuts down the high voltage.
Ron Moore teaches vehicle rescue to firefighters everywhere. The Irving Fire Department brought him to the training grounds to share these special lessons on hybrids.
A hybrid vehicle in water, a hybrid vehicle on fire, and a hybrid vehicle crash. That's the gist of what we're getting across to these guys.
This work outside follows hours of classroom training.
So if you're going to take the roof off,
firefighters learn what could confront them if they are working to take apart a car to get to victims.
if you cut that cable, you can get some arcs and sparks.
Even though they learned there are some important differences with hybrids,
The cables, all the power sources.
they are told the vehicles are remarkably safe.
Across the board with hybrid vehicles, the automakers are really very aware of first responders and are very aware of the challenges that we face. These systems, if something goes wrong, they are designed to default to a safe mode, and it really has worked.
We may have to do a little more cooling on them. That doesn't affect the public, but it's just something we know that we have to do.
The first step in being prepared for response is to be aware. When the battery needs to be charged, you'll hear the gasoline engine kick on.
The goal of spending time in training now is to save precious seconds in an emergency.
Basically feeling comfortable when you get to a scene and we tear apart a car trying to untrap a victim. It's really important to know where the cables are.
This is just one class.
I feel a whole lot more comfortable tearing these cars apart now.
Firefighters continue to train on everything from the basics to emerging topics.
We have to stay ahead of the game because, as I always tell people, what we do has to be instinctual. We don't have time to practice once we get there, so we do all of our practice and our planning before we get there.
Also from the fire department, some children got some important lessons.
If there's a fire at home, we don't want you to hide. We want you to get out and stay out. But if for some reason you can't get out, he's going to go inside and rescue you. And your job—
Chief Mario Molina and firefighters at Station 11 shared some safety tips with members of Hackberry's Little Helpers. While they were there, the youngsters donated carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. The donation helped mark the department's Change Your Clock, Change Your Battery campaign, which reminds residents to maintain their home detectors. Chief Molina says the risk of carbon monoxide exposure can increase during the winter months.
Carbon monoxide is a gas that is colorless. We can't see. It is odorless and we can't smell, but it is very lethal. And that is why it's important to have at least one carbon monoxide at home, one per floor.
With the children bringing the carbon monoxide detectors, is that allows the fire department to install these carbon monoxide detectors into the homes of Irving residents who may not be able to afford that.
The kids enjoyed their visit to the fire department. They even got to take home some souvenirs. Those donated detectors, by the way, will be offered to low-income residents. Irving police take on a lot of traditional crime-fighting activities, patrolling the streets and making arrests to maintain order. Police department employees also support many causes that lead to a safer community and help crime victims. City Source reporter Ashley Roberts covered an event where police officers across the region made a fashion statement.
I got them at Payless for $5.
Some brought their own pair. Others sported the shiny heels provided.
The shoes came from Electric Boutique.
The sassy red and pink colors are hard to miss. But what's more eye-catching is who are wearing them. Men.
I am oddly comfortable. It's kind of confusing.
Definitely gain a lot of respect for women wearing heels.
And that's the goal of this first ever Walk a Mile in Her Shoes march in Uptown Dallas. It's a part of the Dallas County Sexual Assault Coalition's mission to stop sexual violence.
These events are perfect for raising awareness, for getting the community involved in an issue that we don't really talk about a lot in our community.
These are low heels.
Yeah, these are low.
These are a big deal. You can handle them.
You can do it.
Irving Police Department Victim Services Counselor Heather Koval agrees. She says we should be talking about this issue and working together to make a difference.
Until we all get involved and say we're not going to allow this to happen to our kids, to our family members, to our spouses, we're not going to solve this problem.
A problem that some counselors and board members say is an epidemic. Statistically, these experts tell us that 1 in 5 Texas women are or will be victims of sexual assault.
Sexual assault happens to everyone. No one is exempt from it.
Sarah Campos is a case manager at Brighter Tomorrow's shelter in Irving. She says many people think only poor or uneducated women are affected, but she warns it can actually happen to anyone.
It's important for everyone to know that there are services available to them if they've experienced that.
Brighter Tomorrows is just one of the safe havens women can go to for help. The Victim Services Unit at any police department is another option.
We want people to have the opportunity to feel comfortable to report sexual violence. It's a difficult thing to do.
Koval says although it may be hard, it is important for both victims and the surrounding community.
The concern is that someone who perpetrates this crime is likely to continue to perpetrate this crime, and we don't want any more victims.
Putting men in women's shoes might also help prevent future sex crimes. This event was eye-opening for many walkers.
There was a definite sense of group enjoyment and a lot of shared misery.
And it's also created a stronger sense of urgency to spread awareness.
We're not really getting at the root of the problem. We're not stopping it. And if we're really going to affect change in that way, I think the guys really need to step up.
A few aches and possibly a few blisters later, these men have officially walked in a woman's shoes. A touching sight for all to see.
I think it's also good just to show that not only is it women that are supporting women that are suffering with domestic violence and sexual assault, but also that men realize the importance of getting involved.
For men to be able to stand and say, we don't want to see our women affected by this and we want to stand against it, is powerful.
Proof that working together as a team can make big changes.
As a community, we need to create an environment that doesn't tolerate sexual violence.
And don't worry, guys, if you missed the chance to walk in heels this year, you can count on the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes march to be around for years to come, helping to stop sexual violence one pair of heels at a time. Ashley Roberts for City Source.
We have details on another program to help the community. Each year, police officers, firefighters, and other volunteers are involved in Blue Christmas. They collect donations to help families in need have a happy holiday season by providing toys for children and food. One of the fundraisers is a chili cook-off. It is Saturday, December 3rd, beginning at 9 a.m. in Heritage Park. In other news, the Texas Department of Transportation is taking another early step in the long process of reconstructing State Highway 183. It issued a request for information from companies who might be interested in a public-private partnership approved during the last legislative session. TxDOT says construction is projected to cost more than $900 million. This request is to generate ideas for business models involving the toll lanes that would be added. The deadline for companies to respond is at the end of February, so it will still be a while before any construction could begin on the highway itself. More demolitions in Heritage Crossing are clearing the way for possible future development. Crews tore down the old locations of Crown Pools and National Transmission located across from Centennial Park. The city would like to see restaurants and retail on the land. See more at the end of the show. Irving hosted a chess tournament, and the Parks Department hopes it is the first of many. The city is working to offer chess classes at recreation centers and have many tournaments throughout the year. City Source reporter Ashley Roberts was at the event that is starting it all.
This sport requires mental toughness and concentration.
You gotta get warmed up.
It is the game of chess.
It's a pretty complicated game.
And there is a lot to learn to master it.
There are literally billions of different positions between the white pieces and the black pieces, of which there's 32 on a 64 square board.
Tom Crane is the chief tournament director of this chess competition at Lively Point Youth Center. He is a big supporter of the game.
There are numerous studies that clearly demonstrate that there is a direct link between chess and math and science.
Crane says many parents are catching on to its benefits, including Keller mom Tammy Schindling.
This is our second tournament and we're enjoying it.
Her daughters Tatum and Ruby Schindling both enjoy the sport.
It's fun and you don't have to talk to anybody.
Tammy feels this will lead to a brighter future for her kids.
We think it's a good, productive way to spend our time, and I'm fostering it because I think it's good for their math skills.
Chad Blakeman agrees. His son coaches Tammy's daughters. He is very passionate about chess.
I really believe in chess, and the reason why I believe in chess is because of the educational background for it.
From elementary to high school students, these kids have the opportunity to not only expand their minds intellectually, but also possibly win a trophy or even scholarship money.
This tournament's a little different. There are scholarships that are being awarded by Scott Watson's family, and he was a teacher here in Irving for some period of time.
High school student winners receive a $500 scholarship. The younger champions win a trophy.
A lot of people that want to win trophies, I don't really want to win trophies, I just want to have fun.
But whether they win or lose, many players say they have fun and their skills are constantly improving.
It teaches you to use your brain.
I learn because whenever I play someone and I lose, I learn what they do and then I use it in my games.
You get to meet new people and learn how they do things so you can get new ideas for other things to play in chess.
And in scholastic tournaments, including this one here in Irving, students who are members of the United States Chess Federation can also move up in ranking.
There's also what they call world rated, okay? And the world rated is more or less where the grandmasters are going to come from.
Players serious about chess hope to one day earn grandmaster status by earning at least 2,400 points.
The game of chess is so common. It's a game, it's very easy to learn, but it takes a lifetime to master.
And it's these local tournaments that might just be the key for kids and teens to climb up the chess ladder and become masters. Ashley Roberts for City Source.
Hundreds of residents brought their pets to the animal care campus for low-cost vaccinations.
Hey, honey. Oh, it's okay. Oh, goodness.
Some of the dogs and cats did not really enjoy it. They squiggled and squirmed when it came time to get on the table. However, their owners did enjoy it. That's because they could get all of the most common vaccinations for only $20. Each person could get shots for as many as 4 animals, which represents a big savings.
Oh my, tremendous saving.
How much would this cost if you went someplace else to have this done?
If you went to a veterinarian, well, my veterinarian also charges for an office visit, so You'd be the shot, whatever the shot costs, which would be anywhere from $12.50 to $18 to $22 according to the shot, plus the $51 for the office visit.
We're saving money getting vaccinations. We got 4 dogs, 3 of which are rescue dogs. And as you can imagine, vet bills add up.
The city promotes this event knowing that a healthier animal population helps lead to a healthier human population. As you can see, the low cost brought out big crowds that stretched outside the animal care campus. The Animal Assistance Fund helps make this event possible. And you know, we often tell you about events at the Animal Care campus to help homeless pets. But one recent event also took on the cause of homeless people. City Source reporter Chris Blake explains.
Playing with puppies was the platform.
This is Huey and he needs a home.
To bring people together to raise awareness about both homeless pets and homeless people.
Homeless is homeless, and I think that people have a special place in their heart for homeless pets, and so it helps us have a venue to talk about homelessness in general and how that affects families and people.
DFW Humane Society hosted the festivities.
This event is called Homeless Pets Help Homeless People Donation Drive. And what this is we're just an event venue for people to drop off donations, and they're going to benefit homeless people of Irving.
And the event has grown considerably from last year.
Last year we were blessed to be able to come here just to bless the center and to bless the pets, and it was really an inspiring thing for me.
This year it was a joint venture between the Humane Society, Hope Fellowship Church, Irving Cares, and the Poverty and Homeless Coalition.
I think it's a really cool concept to think about pets in the animal shelter as homeless. You know, you kind of think they're just in limbo, just waiting for somebody to take them on, but it really is, you know, it's not the pet's fault that they don't have a home.
The goal today was to get as many homeless pets adopted as possible, but in a few weeks, all the money, blankets, coats, and food collected will go to homeless people in Irving.
The goals for Irving Cares today are to be able to get some food. Our food pantry serves nearly 700 families per month, and it's always in the need of more donations of canned goods, non-perishable food items.
It's just amazing to see how many people have shown up and how many people in the community care about those who are less fortunate in the community.
Hope Fellowship Church has a homeless ministry that picks people up off the streets on Sunday mornings and brings them to church. One more thing that's unique about the church, Pastor Dennis King says it started as a biker church. So does that make him the coolest pastor around?
Well, I don't know about that, but I do ride a bike when I can. My back's bothering me a little bit today, so I came in the car.
But today isn't about riding bikes.
Hopefully it'll get a lot of these pets out of here, and that's what it's all about.
Chris Blake for City Source.
Coming up, forgotten tales from the history of Texas Stadium. But first, Web Watch, our most popular videos online. Our top pick this time around is our most recent Open Line. Guests focused on the dangers of texting and driving. Another one getting a lot of attention is our report on the DFW Humane Society's Guardian Angel Fund. We saw how donations are helping abused or otherwise injured dogs and cats.
He's ready to go home. He can be adopted.
Yep, he could.
And still on the list, Star Wars Fan Days. All of the costumes and fun from that big event at the Convention Center. If you missed any of those stories or just want to watch them again, you can find links to our ICTN On Demand site and our live streaming 24/7 coverage by visiting ICTN.tv. Our YouTube channel is the place to find our newest videos along with web exclusives. Go to youtube.com/The City of Irving. Take a minute to post a comment while online. We might read it here on City Source. You can also find our stories on iTunes. Search for ICTN and download videos and shows to your iPod or iPhone to watch on the go. We all remember that final chapter for Texas Stadium. Last year's implosion was seen around the world. But over its more than 30-year history, there were a lot of moments you may have forgotten. So in our final segment, marking ICTN's 30th anniversary, we look back at Texas Stadium, including ideas to install a dome, rename it, and of course, some of the controversy.
It was 17 years ago that Texas Stadium opened its doors to the public with what now seems a most appropriate event, a Billy Graham crusade. Since that time, the stadium has faced a number of controversies, many of them centered around questions of morality. Officials originally played with the idea of building a combination stadium to house both a baseball and football team. There was even consideration of building a convention center adjacent to the stadium that could double as a basketball court.
I think hindsight, we probably should have pursued that a lot more aggressively.
The convention center was never constructed, although the land remains vacant outside Gate 1 near the administrative offices. Other discussion and negotiations centered around the sale of alcohol. Concession stands at the stadium were built for beer and wine service sales, with the assumption that Irving would one day be wet. Moral controversy began anew when the city contracted this advertisement for cigarettes. Although the sign netted $2.5 million, the citizens were again outraged.
There were quite a few people who just felt you shouldn't smoke and the city shouldn't be in it.
But with those additional funds, the stadium held its first event in 1971.
Billy Graham Crusade.
Despite the improved image, citizens united to protest, one issue after another. In the early 1970s, rock concerts by groups such as Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, considered mild by today's standards, prompted extreme criticism. They were considered corruptive for the youth in Irving.
We pretty much banned the rock concerts back in those days.
Well, when I first got on the council, it was a policy, an unwritten policy, that they didn't want, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but more or less loud rock music or the kind of thing like that that a lot of people felt was bad for our young people and even, you know, early 20s, we'll say.
By 1984, Texas Stadium Corporation, which manages the stadium, was allowed to end its policy of checking coolers for liquor. And in the same year, the City Council made a precedent-setting decision by letting the Michael Jackson Victory Tour come to Texas Stadium. The three-day event was one of the stadium's all-time largest revenue producers. With the Michael Jackson precedent, the stadium launched itself into the concert business. Although there were some community concerns, Irving had stepped into the 1980s. Madonna in 1987, followed by a number of concerts this year, including Pink Floyd, were fairly uneventful. But concerts at the stadium still are not no-holds-barred. In 1987, heavy metal band ICTN was denied permission to perform at Texas Stadium after some council members expressed concerns. But council opinion is not necessarily binding.
The deal we have with them is that they can bring more or less anybody they want to in there. Legally, they could have had ICTN. It's just a case of where some council members and probably the majority of the council members had a problem with it.
This group in particular had somewhat of a history of inciting, I won't say violence, but some rambunctious behavior.
And at a more recent concert featuring lead band In Excess, a heavy metal group called Guns N' Roses was asked to leave the stadium and the city after completing less than half of its act because of obscene language and gestures. Most Irvingites today will agree that the benefits of the stadium outweigh that type of inconvenience.
It was a question we had all along when we were trying to develop it, was what's in it for Irving? And I think it has done exactly for Irving what we thought it would.
For Irving Review, I'm Karen Sykes.
Looking noticeably scruffier than the midshipman he portrayed in the movie An Officer and a Gentleman, actor David Keith warmly greeted local fans gathered on the 4th floor of City Hall last week for a special meeting. It was the eve of Tom Landry Appreciation Day, and Keith had just flown in from Los Angeles wearing the same clothes he had worn on the Pat Sajak show the night before. Illustrating that not all Dallas Cowboy fans live in Texas, Keith recited the history of his childhood attachment to the Cowboys and to the man who coached them, Tom Landry. Flanked by Radio Y95 morning guys, Bill Evans and Trey Matthews, Keith pitched changing the name of Texas Stadium to Tom Landry Texas Stadium.
So even the field could be Tom Landry Field. But I just like the sound of Tom Landry Texas Stadium, which what would be called on television as Landry Texas Stadium.
But neither the 3 council members present nor the mayor were buying. In the end, the morning guys launched a campaign drive to build a Tom Landry pavilion at the stadium, and left with promises to help raise more funds.
Here's our 20. That's our whole paycheck.
The Irving Chamber of Commerce annual banquet was held last Friday on the field at Texas Stadium to thank hundreds of community volunteers. The keynote speaker of the evening was Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, who unveiled plans for big changes at Texas Stadium. Maria Kirshner reports.
Nowhere in this country or internationally will anyone ever have a facility to match this.
Jerry Jones' vision to expand Texas Stadium and build a sports theme park resembling Disneyland was revealed to the public for the first time at the Irving Chamber of Commerce annual banquet last week. The theme park would be the only one of its kind in the world, according to Jones, and would thrive on the image of the Dallas Cowboys. Jones' plans for the theme park revolve around technologically advanced entertainment, including a 3D theater, a high-impact theater, video presentations, and various interactive demonstrations for Cowboys fans. Jones' plans for stadium renovations include adding 40,000 seats, a retractable dome, and air conditioning.
The combination of an air-conditioned, domed stadium with 104,000 seats, there's no way that Super Bowls can stay away from Irving, Texas.
Jones would also like to relocate the Cowboys' training facility to Texas Stadium.
You see, we couldn't do this if we had to start from scratch. A facility like this would be $500 million. But ladies and gentlemen, this stadium was built to do this. We're going to lower this field 8 feet. We're going to use these great columns and pillars on the side of this stadium, and we're basically going to hang 30,000 seats right off the top up there.
The entire project will cost an estimated $200 million, but how the project will be funded is a still unanswered question. For Irving Review, this is Maria Kirshner.
Yeah, a lot of interesting history there. And the music that offended some people back in the 1980s prompted City Council to pass an ordinance affecting musical acts in city-owned facilities. That ordinance is still in effect. And it's time now for our Pets of the Week. Here's Natalia Moravi at the Animal Care Campus.
Hi, I'm Natalia with the Irving Animal Care Campus, here to bring you this week's Pets of the Week. First up, we have Scamp. Scamp is a domestic shorthair, and he's about 2 months old. As you can see, he just loves to play, and I know that he'll provide anybody with lots of love and fun. Please come see him today. This beautiful girl is Jazzy. Jazzy's about a year old, and she's a domestic shorthair brown tabby. She gets along great with other cats and is really laid back, so if you're interested in her, please come check her out soon. This little guy is Scamp. Scamp came into us as a stray, and he's a Maltese mix, about 3 years old. He's very gentle, so I know that he would do wonderful in a home with small children. He's great with other dogs, and I'm pretty sure he wouldn't even mind cats. If you have room in your home, please come see him. This gorgeous guy is Scout. Scout is about a year old, he's a young boy, and he's a Keyshawn Labrador Retriever mix. He loves to run around and play and doesn't seem to mind cats or dogs, and I'm pretty sure he would do great with small children as well. He's got a little bit more room to grow, and if you enjoy an active lifestyle, I think he would be the perfect pet for you. Please come see him. If you come into the shelter and don't see one of the pets featured on today's show, don't worry, because we have new arrivals that come in every day of various breeds, colors, and sizes, so I know that you're bound to find the perfect one for your home. We hope to see you soon.
All right, thanks a lot, Natalia. You can find the Animal Care Campus at 4140 Valley View Lane. It is open Tuesday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. Then on Saturday, the hours are 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. A new memorial honors fallen police officers. See that on the next City Source. Also, how residents turned out at several events to honor veterans and help those still serving. Plus, see why some people took the extra step in disposing of household chemicals and learn what happens to them next. Don't forget, you can get previews of upcoming shows, learn about other city events, and even interact with us. Follow the City of Irving on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with the latest. That's it for this edition of City Source. We leave you with more video of the recent demolitions at Heritage Crossing, making way for possible future development. Thanks to everyone who is a part of this one, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.